All right, welcome in. Brian Edwards, MajorWager.com. Our first MMA video here for a good while. I am in Biloxi at the Palace Casino in my room. Hope the lighting is okay here. Let's review UFC 240. This past Saturday, as we had Max blessed Holloway, the featherweight kingpin, successfully defending his belt against the legend, the future Hall of Famer, Frankie the Answer Edgar, unanimous decision Holloway's way by scores of 50-45, 49-46, and 48-47. I scored at 49-46 from Shades Bar and Grill on 30A in Rosemary Beach. I thought Frankie had a chance to pull an upset. I thought it was a quick turnaround for Holloway. You know, it was just a couple months ago in Atlanta. He tried to become the double champ against Dustin Poirier. Went up to 155 and really just got outpowered and out-stand-upped, if you will, which is his forte. I thought Frankie had a really good chance here with his movement, with his wrestling. He was by far the best wrestler that Max had ever faced. But Frankie could only get one takedown, and the one takedown he got was late in the round, and Max got up within 10 seconds. He was not able to work any ground and pound at all. Now, to his credit, Frankie did, with his movement, he made, Max had a hard time finding him. Max was not able to get in any sort of rhythm like he had in both of the Aldo fights, which he won decisively by third-round knockout in both instances. The Ortega fight, where he landed 307 strikes, the most significant strikes landed in UFC history in any division. He was not able to get into a groove like that, but he was able to stuff Frankie's takedowns. And when Frankie would get in and out, you know, Max would usually win those exchanges. I mean, obviously, you know, one judge had 2 rounds to Frankie. Another judge had 1 round to Frankie. Another had a clean sweep for Max. There were some close rounds. There's no doubt. But the 4th round, Max really turned it up. You know, Frankie's nose started bleeding a good bit. He got popped with some big shots. The difference with Max's takedown defense was his size and his length. And, you know, that's what, you know, makes you wonder, you know, what Frankie does next. Does he try to go down to 135? We'll get back to that here in a second. What's next for Max? Well, that's a no-brainer. Everybody knows what's next for Max, and that's Alex Volkanovski. And the only question is when and where. Now, I think if they had their druthers, the UFC that is, assuming Max's medicals come back, he's healthy, etc., and he made a point to emphasize that when he was asked in the post-fight presser, you know, are you down for Australia, which, by the way, would be UFC 243. That would be they want him to be the co-main event over in Australia under Adesanya and Whitaker to unify the middleweight strap. UFC 243, and the date on that is October 5th. So, we'll see. We'll see on that. If he doesn't do Australia, which would be a really fast turnaround, and it would also be 4 title fights for Max in an 11-month span. And let's remember, you know, before he fought Ortega, he was going to fight Ortega, and then fight week, he was slurring his words, and they did all these tests. They thought he had a concussion from training, etc. They never really figured out what was wrong, but he got cleared medically, and then he had the performance of a lifetime against Ortega, previously undefeated T-City Ortega, I might add, who's a gangster his damn self. But anyhow, so if it's not Volkanovski in Australia in October, Max wants to fight in Vegas. He hasn't fought there in a while. I would say he'll probably fight on that post-Christmas, pre-New Year's card, whatever the Saturday falls this year. It's usually between the 27th and the 30th. I would think that card. Now, New York, maybe. Certainly, if some injuries happen, they had to shuffle some things around, perhaps it could be New York. But if Dana and company have their druthers, it'll be Australia. I don't know how fair that is to Max, however. I think he needs some time off and either do it in New York or Vegas. That's my opinion. Co-main event, Cyborg and Felicia Spenser. one of the more entertaining and one of the closer fights you'll see that ever gets scored 30-27 across. Felicia cut Cyborg. Cyborg said it was the first cut of her career, and it was a huge one. Standing elbow right to the forehead. I mean, the cut went, pretty far. Her corner did a great job of getting it cleaned up, though. And anyhow, Felicia showed great composure, great chin, heart, toughness. She took a bunch of big shots and kept coming forward, and didn't ever appear to be hurt in any way. And outside of Amanda Nunes, who, beat Cyborg in 51 seconds. Now, I know Holly Holm went the distance, but with Holly's movement, and Holly was busted up after that fight, but with Holly's movement, Cyborg didn't catch her nearly as many times as she caught Felicia. Felicia got caught and took it and was fine with it and kept moving forward. Felicia Spenser stock up in my book. Give her Alpha Cat Zingano for her next fight. Since Zingano was fighting at featherweight last time and would rather not cut weight, do that. What's next for Cyborg? Well, this was a contract fight. I mean, everybody knows what's next if the UFC re-signs her, if she chooses to re-sign with the UFC, which is a very contentious situation at the moment. Now, the media, the MMA media comes off like Dana's always bullying her and trashing her and all this. I mean, he could word things a little differently. He probably was a little much on the, when he said scared to fight her, talking about Nunes. But I don't think Dana badmouths her as bad as Ariel Helwani would imply, because Ariel hates Dana. Well, most all those guys hate Dana. Not all of them. I don't think Ioli. I don't think Kev hates him. I don't think Brent Okamoto hates him. Anyhow, Helwani hates him, though. So, Cyborg Nunes, she was wearing a shirt afterwards, said January 2020. I mean, that should be the fight. Dana even said last week he's willing to do a one-fight contract for Cyborg. But look, Cyborg is going to have suitors. She's got a history and a good history with Scott Coker, who now runs Bellator from their days back in Strikeforce. She could go back to Invicta. She will have opportunities, maybe even one championship. And she should make some money now. She's 34. She's coming into her, final days of a big contract. I mean, I think the UFC will give her the most money, but they got to make up. And Dana's not going to kiss her ass. I don't think. Maybe he will. Yeah. I don't know. Everybody wants to see Cyborg Nunes. Let's make that happen in January. It'd be wonderful. Let's hope it does. Geoff Neal over Niko Price on the main card, welterweight scrap. Man, this scrap was good. Really good. Haymakers. Geoff Neal gets the finish. What's next for him? I believe he'll get the winner of next week's main card fight. I think it might even be the co-main event. Platinum Perry against Vicente Luque. Luque, I believe, has won, I want to say 5 in a row. But Geoff Neal's an up-and-coming guy in the welterweight division, now 4-0 in the UFC. Some other highlights on the card. I like the flyweight fight, and you rarely hear me say that. I don't like the flyweight division very much. But Figueiredo, I'm probably butchering that pronunciation. Him and Alexandre Montoya, they had a brawl. It was fight of the night, and they were throwing big bombs. And for 125ers, they were throwing haymakers from the heavens. Fight of the night, Figueiredo, I don't know what the hell his name is. Figueiredo, what have you, Brazilian. Thumbs up, buddy. Good fight. Hakeem Dawodu got a performance of the night bonus with a TKO head kick win late in round 3 against Yoshinori Horii. Props to him. Gavin Tucker, been out a couple years, featherweight fight. He had gotten a point deducted in the second round. I forget if it was an illegal knee or a groin shot. I think it was an illegal knee. It was an illegal knee. But that was in the second round. Like it was the first round that was really close. The second round was Tucker, but he got the point deducted. And so then it's the third round, and it was fairly close third round, so you didn't know where the judges were going to go, but he got the finish. Rear naked choke with a minute 43 left in the fight. Big win for Gavin Tucker. So there you go. That wraps up UFC 240. Now looking ahead, basically we have cards all the way. I don't think the UFC has a weekend off till like September 21st. Crazy. Take advantage of football not being here while you can. Oh, and by the way, this card this weekend, and I love this, and I'm only used to it because when they have the cards over in Europe, you'll get this on a Saturday or a Sunday afternoon when they're having or depending on where they are, Europe or Asia or whatever, where they're having the, sorry, chapstick. When you need it, you need it. You'll get the main card starting at like 11 a.m. or noon. This one's in Newark, New Jersey, this weekend. But wait on, is Newark in New Jersey or New York? I don't think I know that. Where is Newark? I think it's New Jersey. Yes, it is New Jersey. Good. Glad I got that right. Kind of. All right, so I think the main card starts at 1 o'clock in the afternoon on Saturday. Love it. Stoked about that. Colby Covington, Chaos Covington, and Robbie Lawler is the main event. Wrestler against a kickboxer, clashing styles. I got to go with Robbie, man. Plus 185 at 5 dimes, plus 195 at Sportsbook. Give me Robbie all day. I'll take some small change on Clay Guida as well. Miller, two just grizzled veterans, but Guida's plus 155 at 5 dimes. I'll get a little bit of that. Still got some handicapping to do on this card, but I'll give you those two I like. There's no over-unders out yet, but I like Robbie Lawler over Covington as a nice dog, and Guida as well. And there you go. What else on the UFC? Okay, you may have seen my story in Top Headlines. Cowboy and Justin Gaethje, the highlight Gaethje. That's going to be great. Odds are out. The cheapest price on Gaethje right now that I see is minus 220 at BetOnline. The most generous underdog price on Cowboy Cerrone is plus 210 at 5 dimes. Currently for UFC 242 in Abu Dhabi, September 7th, Habib is minus 400, and Dustin the Diamond Poirier is plus 300, and that gets you up to date on the UFC at our latest MMA video. I'm Brian Edwards of Major Wager, joining you from Biloxi, Mississippi. Over and out.